Season 7 of The Dragon Prince is here and gone, and the show might be done too, but we'll get more news on that this year. But for now, I can't stop talking about this show. And I want to talk about some ideas that were left out of Season 7, and I'm not talking about theories. I mean concrete ideas, plans, photos that I'm going to show you of things that were left out. Some might make you sad, and others might make you mad. So let's get into it. What's going on, you guys? James here with some real news, and today we're breaking down 3 things that were left out of Season 7 of The Dragon Prince, and I think that they could have maybe given it some more life. But hey, I'm also going to tell you about some of your ideas, because I asked you all in the community section of the channel, give me one thing that you would have loved to see in Season 7. And I mean, nobody said more Moonberry surprise montages, and I'm disappointed in that. But before we get into it, if it is your first time here at the channel, welcome to Real James, where I love talking about movies, TV, and all the news in between. So if you don't want to miss out on any new content this year, hit the big red button below, subscribe to the channel. We're almost to 30,000 subscribers, and it's due in large part to your help. Also, get loud in the comments, and even if you didn't answer in the community post, let me know here in this video one thing, that's 2 things, one thing that you would have loved to have seen in Season 7 of The Dragon Prince, and give me your thoughts on the 3 things that we're going to talk about today too, and like this video, don't like that. You know what, I think we should just get started, because I'm botching this whole intro. So let's get into your things that you wanted to see in Season 7. So we're going to do 10 of them. 10 things you wanted to see in Season 7. We're going to start with the very first one, and this is all about the cosmic order. Now, this user says, I wanted to see more of those celestial creatures that took away Aaravos' daughter. I'm surprised they didn't intervene to stop him, since they seemed so against giving magic to, and I think it's sort of cut off. Maybe that was on me, but I get the gist of what you're saying. It is interesting we didn't get the cosmic order in Season 7. It seems like that would have been kind of cool to revisit them, and even if it was Aaravos saying, ha, in your face, well, he kind of did that when he looked into the sky, but still, it's one of those things where it's like you set it up and you don't really follow through too much with the cosmic order. So that was the very first thing. But number 2 is deep magic. Friend of the channel Chicken says, an introduction to deep magic. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, that would have been nice. We did a video on the possible Season 8 for The Dragon Prince, the title, and I think it is going to be titled Deep. And I do think that getting an introduction to this, at least a tease to this in the very final episode of Season 7, would have been really cool to see. I don't think that they were ever going to do that, but I'm curious. Was it at least a possibility? I want to know, because I'm sure if we're going to get an Arc 3, it would have been nice to have that breadcrumb left, and maybe that could have replaced the King Hero reveal. Alrighty, number 3 is all about Kimdale. This user says, I would have wanted to see more of Kimdale, and I was really disappointed that she was just a one-off villain, because she had so much potential as a character, and it just felt like she was thrown away. And guess what? I can't lie to you, I feel the same way. I almost forgot that they threw this character away, and to be completely honest with you, Kimdale felt a little overpowered. If you just take her abilities for what they are, who's stopping her? However, it would have been nice to have seen Kimdale come back in Season 7 somehow. Again, that's the dangers of having so much lore in a show like The Dragon Prince, and you have a final season and you don't really revisit that. Things get left out. So we just never got Kimdale again, and that might have been a little bit of an oversight. So let's get to number 5. It's all about Lissa and Kapar. This user says, I wanted to actually see the real Lissa, either as a flashback or the present, and for Kapar to get out of the coin. Now, this comes from another friend of the channel, of course, and I will say, yes, it would have been nice to see that. I think a flashback would have been more appropriate, but seeing a fake Lissa, you know what I mean? Fake. You know what I mean. It was a good hook. It was a good tease. It just felt like, man, you want a little bit more backstory. It sort of helps build the characters of Claudia and Soren. But for Kapar, yeah, they kind of left that on the table, didn't they? Yeah, they're leaving some stuff on the table, I guess on purpose, because they want an Arc 3. But, man, they're leaving more on the table than I thought. Alrighty, so let's get into number 6, and it's all about Rayla. This user says, a Rayla wedding in Sorvis would have been nice to see. Now, I don't think Soren and Corvus are going to be anything more than just friends. They've established that in the show, but it's nice to see their bromance on full display. When it comes to Rayla, And a lot of users have been saying they wanted to see a proposal, they wanted to see a wedding. I think we have to keep in mind that they're still pretty young, so just because they're like, 17, 18 or whatever, if we were to get a Rayla wedding, it would have been a flash forward. And they'll never do that, or they never were going to do that, because if they did, we wouldn't get an Arc 3, because there's nothing left to sort of look forward to. So it was either you take it or you leave it. You want an Arc 3, you don't get a Rayla wedding. You want a Rayla wedding, it's going to be a flash forward, and it would have been quick. And a lot of people probably would have been mad that it was rushed. So yeah, I mean, maybe we'll get that one day. Who knows? Number 7 is all about Runan and Athari. So this user says, seeing some more of Runan and Athari, especially Athari, because he had like 2 minutes of screen time. And you know what? After reading this, you're right. I don't think Athari had a lot of screen time here. Runan had more, of course, but it is interesting that they would introduce, of course, the reunion for them not to really stick with it. And Callum never actually had a conversation with either Runan or Athari about Rayla. It would have been nice to see just a one-on-one or a two-on-one with Rayla, of course, not in the room, but that never happened. So just a very interesting series of events. I think that, again, is the issue with sometimes introducing so many plot points into one season. It's supposed to be the final season officially, but you don't want it to be the final official season, so then you kind of leave things on the table. Again, I've been saying that a lot today. Alrighty, we're almost done here, but let's get to number 8, and this one is a very interesting request here. So, Callum's dad. Now this user says, I wanted to see the mysterious Damien, who is Callum's dad, maybe as a flashback or something, and know a little bit more about him, because he just seems like an interesting character. I will say, I think we'll get more of that, possibly in some graphic novels or novels after this season. I don't know if we'll ever get the full reveal in the show or in a future season of the show, just because, again, I think the show's already done a good job at establishing the fact that Callum's dad, well, just didn't play a huge role. So Callum's dad, not biologically, but, by, just proximity, and the chosen family for Callum is going to be King Harrow, or was King Harrow. So, yeah, I kind of like the fact that they didn't show Damien, but I understand the want and the need. So let's get into number 9, and this is my very favorite request that anyone has given for what they wanted to see and things that were left out of Season 7 of The Dragon Prince. So number 9 is all about Claudia and Soren. This user says, I really would have liked to see Claudia and Soren having a heart-to-heart about what they went through. Now, honestly, that's an incredible request, because it's true. We don't necessarily get a conversation between them two and sharing their trauma in Season 7. It would have been nice to see that. Also, I don't think Soren has given up on his sister. I do think Claudia is maybe a little far gone, but is she completely away in terms of not being able to have redemption? I think she's not far enough gone. I do think that there's enough room there for them to play with a possible redemption arc for Claudia. But yeah, getting more of a character development moment for both of these characters would have been really nice. And lastly, it's all about Ellis and Ava. This user says, I want to see my girl Ellis. And you know what? That is a great segue into the 3 things that were left out of Season 7 of The Dragon Prince. And these are all confirmed, coming from the creators, of course, and writer Eugene Ramos. So, for you wanting to see Ellis and Ava, just stay tuned, seriously. But we're going to get into the very first confirmed thing that was left out of Season 7 of The Dragon Prince, and that is King Ezran and Anya having a moment together. In Sam Stone's interview with Dragon Prince creators Aaron Ehasz and Justin Richmond over on Comic Book Resources, Justin reveals that there was originally a sequence with Ezran and Anya together, and it was just the 2 of them. He said, and I quote, there's a sequence that we didn't get to do, which was Ezran and Anya's day out, which was them just being kids again. It was before the wedding, and they didn't want to go through the nonsense of a political wedding, which would have been a fun counterpoint. So, yeah, you know what? I think that would have been pretty darn cool. Now, of course, I don't think Justin Richmond is necessarily talking all about Season 7, but I do think there was the chance and a possibility of having an Anya and Ezran day out in Season 7 at some point. It would have been nice to see, and that probably would have came to the tail end of this season. I just think that that's another missed opportunity. It does feel like both of them, like the Kingdom of Durn and the Kingdom of Kritolis coming together. It's more than just alliances, like they're friends. So yeah, even though I do think Justin Richmond might be talking about something outside of Season 4, leads me to believe that there was more for King Ezran and Queen Anya in Season 7 that was left out of the Dragon Prince. So let's get to the number 2 thing that was left out of Season 7 of the Dragon Prince, and that is Callum and Soren having a moment. And we all know they had a moment, but it was supposed to be longer. In the scene where Callum and Soren were crying in each other's arms when they realized that Catullus was completely demolished, what we got wasn't the original idea. I think in theory, yes, it's the original scene, but on X, Meg, who's a Dragon Prince super fan, she posted about the scene, and then Ehasz got in the mentions and replied and said this, and I quote, "True story. We actually had to cut this scene down because Callum and Soren cried in each other's arms for like 30 more seconds." I don't know if I would have been able to handle all that, because I think it would have, 30 more seconds actually, now that I think about it, is a long time. So maybe it would have felt a little too long. I'm okay with the idea that they cut it down. But imagine if it went on for even like 5 more seconds. And no music. Silence. Ashes falling from the sky and just their tears on each other's shoulders. That would have been pretty good drama. And I would have been an emotional wreck. Especially if they showed that in front of people at New York Comic Con. What am I doing? But I don't think 30 more seconds, that would have been dragged out. However, now I want to see the behind the scenes footage of the voice recording session when they actually sat in this booth and recorded. Were they together? Were they separate? But I need to know who cried first. Gotta imagine. Might have been Jesse and Inocalla. That's my guess. And I do think that this speaks to another issue when it comes to the Dragon Prince, which is maybe longer episode runtimes or more episodes in a season could help this show sort of feel fleshed out and maybe even more lived in. Now, do I think that longer episode runtimes would have fixed this scene? No, not really, but for the overall grand scheme of things in season 7, wouldn't it have been kind of cool to get like 12 episodes instead of 9? I do think that, of course, 9 is more consistent with everything that we've gotten so far this season, or this series, but there needed to be, I think, a longer runway for the final season of The Dragon Prince. And of course, I don't think Netflix was probably going to give it to him if they asked, but 12 episodes, the final season of The Dragon Prince, maybe that would have made the show, at least its ending, feel even more grandiose and emotional. And now for the biggest bombshell of what was left out of season 7 of The Dragon Prince, and it's all about Ellis and Ava. Where my Ellis and Ava stands at. You know, listen, the fact that they were introduced and then never referenced again is crazy to me, but I'm shocked that they weren't in season 7. Well, to my surprise, they were supposed to be. Back on December 24th of last year, Eugene Ramos, friend of the channel and writer on The Dragon Prince, posted this on X, and I quote, "With holiday travel and other obligations, I had been slow watching season 7 of The Dragon Prince. All the while, I wondered why no one was talking about my favorite cameos from the finale. A quirk with the algorithm, I thought, and then I watched the last episode, and..." Okay, I need you guys to see my face when I read this last one. "They weren't there," and I'm thinking, who is they? But he continues, "Even though they were ready to go and had asked not to be forgotten, someone clearly forgot about them." And I'm just trying to think, who is they? They's more than one person. Who could it be? And it's exactly who we thought it was going to be. This had a lot of fans speculating, of course, until Eugene finally confirmed it was Ellis and Ava. But he also shared some sort of storyboard concept art, and I was shocked. So we were supposed to see Ellis and Ava to the left of Miana and her twins that she birthed thanks to the traitor who got squished, following, of course, you know, Everkind being announced as this new area, this new land where everyone comes together, and it's a sweet old dandy time until Aaravos returns. But it's insane that Ellis and Ava were taken out. They're fan favorites, but also, if you're going to have Nyx and Vilas, why don't you have Ellis and Ava? Ellis and Ava's designs look relatively the same in the storyboard art, so again, I'm wondering, why were they left out? It would have been nice to see them just hanging out with everyone, and I think the last time we saw them was more than 3 or 4 seasons ago. So correct me if I'm wrong there, but it's been a very long time since we've seen Ellis and Ava. And now I wonder who else was left out, but I come back to the fact that maybe that final sequence in season 7 wasn't as fleshed out as it should have been. Wouldn't it have been really cool to have Ellis and Ava and then a moment with them and Callum and the gang just sort of getting their screen time? I just man, it really stinks, because to me, I did feel the season 7 finale, the final moments, maybe like the last 10-15 minutes, they were a little rushed, and I just don't know why Ellis and Ava were taken out. I don't get it. So there you have it, you guys. Those are 3 things that were left out of season 7 of The Dragon Prince. Of course, the first thing was King Ezran and Anya possibly having a moment cut out in season 7, even though, again, I think it was something that was left out earlier in the series, but leads me to believe that they had a moment left out in season 7. Number 2 is Callum and Soren having their moment extended, but then shortened for the final episode when they're crying. And then the last thing, of course, Ellis and Ava's cameo in the very final episode of The Dragon Prince. They were just eliminated, and I just don't get it. It actually surprises me quite a bit. I think this is something that I get fans being upset about, and maybe this is where, if we do get in arc 3, we get more Ellis and Ava. I don't know how they would fit into season 8, but I could clearly see how they would be able to fit in to the season 7 finale. So let me know down below, guys, if you guys are a little disappointed, if you felt like maybe those things that were left out, it's a good thing, or if there's something else that you wish that you saw in season 7. So let me know in the comments below, and smash that subscribe button if you don't want to miss out on some more Dragon Prince content. Not as much, because we're waiting until July at San Diego Comic-Con, where we will know more about the future of the Dragon Prince and if we're getting seasons 8 through 10. So go ahead and just get subscribed for movie reviews, TV show reviews, and so much more. I'm super pumped because this year is going to be nothing but amazing. Can't wait to see what God does, and I thank you guys for your support. We've got another milestone coming up, and it's all due in large part to your help. So God bless you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you at the next screening. Seriously, Ellis, Ava, where you at? Hooty hoo! Is that how you call Ava? No?